Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, from wherever you're watching from or listening from. This is your hostess, Dr. Marcellina and Ndidi, Aparoji, welcoming you to Ndisco's Village Meeting Podcast. This is Series 3, Episode 34. I warmly welcome you. How on that day? I am fine. It's you can believe we're getting into mid-June. It's almost Christmas. Anyway, um, for the past few episodes, we have dwelt everything from aging and what it all means to age. And you find that what some people are calling old or young or whatever, or process of aging, the way it's being looked at is a little bit different from the reality that aging starts at 20, not at 70 or 80 or 60 or 50, like some people think. So you start early to take care of you. Um, we talked about that, and that took 3 episodes of that series. And then we jumped into um, the other topic of women in the workplace or stay-at-home moms or those who have decided they don't want to marry and they don't want to um, have children, but they really want to hunker down on their um, professions and careers. And we're not condemning any of those. What we did was show you the pros and cons of all the 3 parts, and that took another 3 episode series. So we give those a break. So for today, I am going into, and we looked at it a whole lot, and many people we've got into discussion with that with fellow women and men who venture into this arena. And this, it didn't start today. It started all the way from COVID era, where we went crazy with this practice. And I keep wondering. People who know me know I'm not one of those who jump into bandwagon just because everybody is doing it, then I'm gonna do it, or because nobody is doing it, so I cannot do it, kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, you try, provided you're not breaking any rules or you are not committing any crime. But this particular practice took everybody unawares, and everybody jumped into that without really thinking twice. And we came to a conclusion that maybe that's what needs to be done. But then you watch other people in other parts of the world, they're not doing the same thing that you see others doing. So that made me start thinking, is that something we all need to be doing? And why? I always ask the why. If you ask the why, and those who know me, I ask a lot of questions, and some people misconstrue that as something. I just want to know. I'm an inquiring mind. I really want to know so that when I do what I do, I can stand behind that. And so that's my inquisition. That's why I go into deep research of stuff, not for anybody else, but for me. But then I share what I find. And so this particular one, it's all about our food. When we talk about this podcast about Africa, society, and culture, we are talking about everything. And when I started sharing initially what it's all about, it's not about just one particular thing. It's about our food, our fashion, our way of life. So today we venture into the food arena, the aspect of food. Again, this is not the ingredients, but the preparation of the food. And this is the one I wanted to share. Many of you have witnessed people, especially in my Africa, when people who are doing blogging or cooking, and sometimes the rest of the world, not all of them, when they start preparing the ingredients for food, you see a lot of salt passing hand, a lot of salt on vegetables, a lot of salt on meat or fish or whatever protein that is being used, a lot of The only thing I haven't seen them put there maybe on dry food, and sometimes, I I think they do that also, maybe not in front of the camera. But then I watched some of the other people, the rest of the world, the people who have won big awards, Chamberlain awards and all that. Um, they don't do that. I am, believe me, apart from the Turkish movies that I am a big fan of, I love cooking channels. I learn a lot from them, the do's and don'ts of food and preparation and, the nutrients aspect. So I am that kind of a junkie when it comes to that. And believe me, when you watch all these, I haven't seen any salt pass hand in washing deeply all this stuff. So I started digging in to ask or to find out what is out there, if possible. So the question today is washing cooking ingredients like the produce, the meat, the fish, and all that, everything that we're using to prepare a dish. Those who think that it, when prepared with salt, when washed deeply with salt, especially washing, that's where we're going, not cooking, the washing of it, that it helps destroy those illness causing pathogens. Um, is that true? Or is it false? Is it the truth or is it a myth? Is it something that we just thought? Or did we find that somewhere people say to us, yeah? So I don't take word of mouth. I just ask. I go back in there and dig in. Okay. Um, I- I'm not in this episode discounting anybody who wants to do what they want to do. If you want to continue doing salt wash, whatever it is you want to do, please do. There are people who have fetishes. Some people, before they get out of their door, will rub something on the door or do there are particular maybe pictures or coins that they have that they think will bring them luck. And you can't tell them never to do that because then you are stepping on their own belief. You let it go. But there are some that, you look at and you're like, is that foolishness or is it really something that has a deep meaning, a backup of reasoning to that? So when you find that and you're not finding any cogent or there are cogent reasons to do that, this is where I share with the world. And, some of my young ones, proteges, they cook, they try to cook. And some have asked, Auntie, am I supposed to wash this with salt and all that? Because they've seen their parents or others do that. And they're confused. They don't know why. And so this is my inquiry mind asking the use of salt in washing all this, is that warranted? So let's dig in. Okay, that's the topic. Does it really? Because that's the most people I hear from. I hear people say, oh, let's wash out some of the, disease forming, whatever, so that that's safety from germs and all that. Is that really true? So let's see what is being said out there. So having said that, I dug in to say there are reasons why in um, the literature out there, or literatures out there, and by the culinary world, by the thoughts, the schools of thoughts, they're like, yeah, there are some reasons why they wash ingredients with salt because it serves some purposes, like number one, deodorizing. Okay. So some food items have their own odor and all that. So sometimes they use salt to deodorize the wash very well, to deodorize the odor. If that is the intent, they recommend that. That's fine. They also think salt will help in texture enhancement. So for example, vegetables to stay crispy sometimes, they just use the salt to just rinse out a little bit and to keep them, sounding fresh or looking fresh. The third aspect that they have said salt is normally or could be used is cleansing. Cleansing the ingredients, whether it's vegetables, fruits, or whatever, because they come from the ground majority of the time and they carry dirt. So the dirt or the sands, whatever they carry, then deeply washed to get those out. And the the salt helps in lifting up those heavy dirt off of the ingredient. Okay. But they have, and I saw several sources say, washing of these ingredients is not necessarily, again, not necessarily a method for killing bacteria. So if your purpose of using the salt or salt water or whatever is to kill bacteria, that is not founded. Okay. Yes, we see some people use salt, vinegar, citrus, juice. Some people use those for specific culinary purposes. But if it is for washing away any bacteria or killing the germs or destroying any illness, producing pathogen before you cook them, that is a myth, according to the literature and the research out there. Okay. They are also saying that the benefits to washing, like I said before, with salt or cooking with salt or soaking ingredients with salt, it's also to help remove strong and bitter flavors. We in Africa, we do the lubu, or, bitter leaf washing. Sometimes people put salt to help, and take that. Sometimes when you wash beef or chicken liver, that's where they say, yeah, you could use salt, because what salt does there, or any kind of brine is salt water or anything, it helps you pull out the residual blood in the liver. Liver also is a topic we'll talk about next time. People consume that too much or leave it off entirely. It's very important to us, but we'll talk about that next time. So that's where it's being recommended to pull up excess blood in those aspects. Also, salt is used in, when you wash them to draw out excess moisture. You remember when we were in school, we learned about osmosis. Osmosis is when the salt helps draw water out of the food. So if you want to make a dish that is not going to be needing too much water, that's where that comes on, or that comes in. So these are the recommended aspect, and some of them say it acts as a natural scrubbing abrasive. When you wash something like snails, shellfish, some kind of seafood, and all that, it helps remove the slime. That's what salt does. It helps remove the slime. Vegetables, for example, like I said before, it helps, lift the stubborn dirt. You see that sometimes in what do you call now? Insecticides are used in farms and to coat. So those shiny coatings or waxing on vegetables, salt could help in lifting those waxes from the chemicals used in growing these vegetables. Some in the Asian world, Caribbean, Latin America, and all that, sometimes they use salt to wash their stuff before cooking to neutralize the raw odor of the food. These places, they dwell a whole lot on seafood and other types of meat. So the salt helps them to neutralize those raw aspect of or odor that comes with that kind of cooking. But um, to go again to say there is nothing out there that tells us that the use of salt in washing all these food items before you cook them will help us neutralize or destroy illness causing pathogen. So if your goal when washing with salt is to reduce or to kill all those bacteria with the food, they're not going to happen. Okay. Um, on the other hand, when you use salt, it accelerates the spoilage of that food, of the raw food. If you do that, it breaks it down. There's a breakdown that goes on with the salt that destroys whatever food there is before you cook that. That is also the cellular breakdown of the food when you use salt to wash that encourages mold in the food. So you'll be aware of that. And the presence of mold in the food is not good. um, it can, and people don't know that when you wash with salt, no matter the amount of rinsing that you do, it doesn't take the salt out completely. And so when you cook, you a whole lot of sodium addition is going on. So there's extra or excess salt in your food because you have used salt. Some people even soak whatever ingredients with this salt and then they don't rinse properly, or even if they rinse, there are still residues of the salt in there. So these are all added danger to whatever you think you're cooking. And that's what is being said here. Now, to make us all understand the stand of the health teams out there, the Center for Disease Control in the US that also looks into the global health and all that, including the FDA, Food and Drug Administration in the US, they have recommended, and you can go look this up, go and verify, recommended that we skip the salt wash entirely. I did not mix it up. So again, I told you I wanted to know why, because I never do. And for my conscience, sometimes I feel, why am I not doing what others are doing? Using salt to wash vegetables, meat, and all that. But in my inner self, I'm like, okay, am I just not going to do it because everybody is doing it? Why are we doing that? So I had to dig in. So to hear that Center for Disease Control, the CDC, who would have pushed us to do that, and FDA, and I guess some other bodies there that I didn't go deeper into looking into, are telling us, hey, skip that salt wash entirely. For produce, for example, for produce, the vegetables and all that, they are recommended you just run these things under plain water and let them, run off whatever it is on these aspects. Okay. They say even you don't have to, unless you want to first of all clean off dirt if there's dirt on the meat or all that. But if you bought meat that is already washed and all that, they don't even recommend you washing them again. So for those people who pound, some people who when they get this meat from somewhere, the packages and all that, and they say, oh, you should wash that. Well, if you want to rinse, that's fine with plain water, but not salt, because you're adding some more. What they are recommending, these health bodies, are that you monitor the temperature of your cooking, especially for meat, seafood, and all that. Okay. They don't recommend you eating raw, So that's why people have thermometers when they cook things like meat. They want to make sure it's really done before you can eat that, because that's where these things will happen. This illness causing pathogens will reside in uncooked food, raw food that is not well washed or all that, but not necessarily with salt, because that to us now, unless you want extra flavor, but if you are doing it for safety of the food, the safety aspect, no, salt is not adding anything to the safety of the food. And so I know some people are going to pounce on this and like, what is she talking about? Well, I dwell on evidence or fact. I don't just like to follow. I don't mind who is leading, but let's lead with facts and let's find out what exactly is the fact. So what I just found out in this fact is that I had a good hunch not to follow the crowd to use salt to wash everything. I mean, when you watch some people, it's like they're using almost a bag of salt to wash stuff. And I cringe because when they wash, some of them don't even rinse out as much as they should, and they start cooking with these things. And then you see them pouring salt and pouring all these spices and all that. It's full of sodium. Okay. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying to you, don't wash your ingredients, wash them with water and let it run off. If you are going to clean with plain water and let it wash off. Unless you want to increase the flavor, like they are saying, you enhance your flavor by those salt. But remember, not to add too much when you are cooking them. I've given you some idea of the cultural aspect that people they want order of their food because they are normally are in the regions where you have a lot of this food right off the water or something. For vegetables, water can lift the dirt. Okay, you don't have to use salt. And again, we have seen that some of them might cause mold at the end or even cause fast spoilage because of that idea. But some people still can use salt for slimy uh, items, the snail and all that, to really get off the slime. And some people can use to get some bitter taste out. But when it comes to safety from the illness carrying pathogens, the salt does not do diddly. And I'm not saying it. The health bodies or agencies confirm that. So that's the aspect I wanted to touch on today. It's good to follow what the world is doing, but it's also good to look out and ask questions. Why are we doing what we're doing? Okay. I see some people they buy these cartons of salt just to wash their ingredients. And you wonder, like, okay, this didn't do what it's supposed to do? And some of these started with during the COVID period when we had this sense that, and I know it could have been a time of hopelessness or helplessness, that we were looking for whichever way to do the best we can to stay alive. But then it's good to ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? And again, some people still did that and the disease got to them. Again, some people will say, well, maybe it saved some people, it didn't save others. We never know. But what we are contemplating here is, why do we do what we do when we do it? And if we're doing it because everybody else is doing it, then that's not adult of us. Okay. To just jump into the bandwagon because everybody is doing it. It's not good enough. So I decided to go look into, why is the world using all this salt to wash everything. I see some people use salt to wash everything that goes into the pot. And not even small salt, a whole lot. And I'm not saying it's good or bad, but from people who manage our health, they are telling us it doesn't do anything when the disease is out there. You better follow the precaution of hand washing trying to sustain your immunity as much as you can, eat healthy, breathe fresh air, keep your blood running, keep your system going. Those are the things that will ward off the diseases or prevent them from happening. But to just wash your ingredients with salt that could um, be enough to fill the whole world um, with the iodide content is not a way to ward off those diseases. And when you cook your meat, especially those of you who think, oh, the diseases are in the meat, when you cook, the recommendation is to cook your meat till they are done, to cook it and check the temperature. And that's why some people use thermometer, but that's why some people use your meat shouldn't be bleeding. Your meat should not be bleeding. And we see some people cut open their chicken and it's still raw inside. Chicken actually is one thing that you don't want to bleed at all. I know people eat um, uh, raw beef. Some people eat, what they call rare, medium rare, and all that. It's to your taste. But know that when you do that, you you have other things that could happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but have at the back of your mind you're eating something raw. So, and when they are raw, they still carry all those illness causing pathogens. So it's not just washing the salt with the salt, is cooking so that they are done. And they are also saying that, when you wash those ingredients with the salt, in the salt, and some of the salt water are splitting, spilling out on your kitchen table and all that, and you don't wipe very well, whatever you are washing out there is now spreading everywhere else because you have water pool and all over the place. And you didn't take the precaution of really wiping down again and again with things that could destroy those bacteria that you got out of another place to another place. So, having said that, I am imploring you to think about what you do. When people are doing stuff, think about it before you jump in. Ask questions. Okay. So to really be on the know, go out today and watch TV, watch your internet, go to your hand device and look up food networks. Ask yourself how many of them are washing with salt before the ingredients before they cook. Yeah, some people will say now, oh, Africa is different, we have our animals, da da da. Well, um, it's not different from some other part of the world that we get the same thing from the farms. Okay, this is not, worse off where we are. They're not saying not to wash, but they don't see the reason to wash with salt, and that is where I am standing, and nothing else. But if you choose to, for your own um, rest of mind, to continue to do what you're doing, please do. But what I'm saying to you is that I looked into it, and this is what is coming back to us. If you are doing it to kill diseases, to kill germs, to kill pathogens, because you're using salt, it doesn't happen. There is no such theory that says, yes, it is a myth. It's not the truth. That salt will kill those things. Okay? So cook your food well and keep subscribing to us. Some of you are doing a good job. I have seen a little increase in number, but we can go there. And as we make more time to get into questions that have been asked, a lot of them, I have a long list. There is nothing under the sun that we won't touch. And some of them could be controversial. Some of them are going to be just what they are, plain simple. Some of us will agree on some of the outcomes. Some of us will never agree. And that's okay. We can agree to disagree and we can disagree to agree. It depends on what side you are on. But as we do um, this talk on Africa and our society and our culture, whether it's at the homestead or in diaspora, what we're looking at is the outfit that will serve us all in that knowledge aspect and the practical aspect as well. And on this note, I thank you very much for tuning in and being with us. And please continue to share with others. And we can, we are everywhere. All the outlets that carry podcasts now carry this. And we are expanding as we go as well. Okay. Thank you so much. And this is your hostess, Dr. Marcellina Ndidi Aparaji, saying blessings. Thank you. Have a good one.